G'day. Have you ever considered writing a to-don't list? Now, everybody knows what a to-do list is. We have lots of them. They normally go on for pages and pages, and we never seem to get to the end of them. But if you find that you're constantly time poor and that you're emotionally drained at the end of the day, a to-don't list just could be your savior. My name's Willem, and on this channel we look at tips, tricks and strategies that I have learned over my many years in business and in personal development that I have found allow me now to live life on my own terms, and I want to share them with you. The to-don't list that I'm discussing with you today, I've only been doing for a short time, and yet I have found it invaluable. What is a to-don't list? A to-don't list identifies the things that you find emotionally draining and that you no longer want to keep doing. So, what are the benefits of writing a to-don't list? Well, there's probably three. First, it allows you to reflect on the past and identify the areas in your life that you no longer want to keep doing. In other words, you're finding that you can use your time in far better ways. It allows you to stop doing things that are not serving your own well-being and your core values. And lastly, it gives you a sense of being back in control of your life. My mentor, Mr. Rohn, used to famously say, if you don't have a plan for your own life, you will become part of someone else's plan. And guess what they have got planned for you? The answer? Not much. So, when should you write a to-don't list? Well, that depends on how out of control you feel. If you're pretty well exhausted at the end of the week, maybe that's a good time. I actually do mine on the first of the month, every month. It allows me to look back on the last month and identify areas in my life that I'd like to eliminate, reduce, or simply just do a whole lot less of. So that I can get back living life on my terms. But it really is up to you. So on the first of the month, I sit down, I spend an hour and I reflect back on the previous month, and I ask this question. What events occurred in the past month that de-energized or deflated me that are in my control to change? Obviously, there's a lot of things that we cannot control, the weather, the politicians, the news, but there are a lot of things that are in our control to change. Here's an example of some of the things from my last couple of to-don't lists. Number one, don't allow interruptions in the morning when I'm at my most productive. That's often when the emails start, when the phone calls start. I actually put my phone on Do Not Disturb, usually from about 9 o'clock till 12 noon. Now people ask, well, what about if it's urgent? Well, if it's urgent, they'll get to me one way or another. But most things in life aren't that urgent. And putting the phone on Do Not Disturb when I am focused and concentrating on something I want to achieve, I find is the best use of my time. Second item, I don't drive 20 minutes to save a few cents on a litre of petrol. I value my time at around $150 an hour. If I was to spend 20 minutes to try and drive somewhere to save a few cents, I'm really wasting $50, and that to me is just false economy. Number three is don't watch the news headlines. It's depressing, it gets you down, it gets you into a negative mindset. Yes, we scan the headlines obviously just to know what's going on, but watching the entire news for an hour in the evening, to me, that is just something I don't like to do. They even give you a warning that the following footage may distress some viewers. I mean, and people are sitting there having dinner with their family, watching footage that may distress some viewers. I just don't get it. And it's something, I don't avoid it all the time, I have to admit, but it's something that I really do put highly on my to-don't list. This one's good, number 4. Don't do favors for people just because you feel guilty about saying no. Now, we could write, and I will, we could write an entire video on feeling guilty when you say no, and it'll come up in a future video, I have no doubt. But one thing that I now put very highly on my to-don't list is don't do favors for people just because you don't want to say no. And lastly, have a careful look at your relationships. Don't maintain relationships that are draining. Have you ever spent time with a person and after 15 minutes you go, oh Lord, I feel so tired, I feel totally drained? Yeah, me too. And yet people will maintain those relationships and waste hours and hours of their lives trying to maintain them. Sometimes you just need to put some distance between yourself and those people that are draining the life out of you. I like to think that there are two types of people. There are those who energize you and there are those who drain you. Make sure you spend time with the ones who energize you. So thanks for watching. I hope that was of a benefit. It's a little bit counterintuitive to write a to-don't list, but I personally find it really liberating, and it really allows me to reflect on my life and think, where am I really wasting time that I could be using more productively? Now, if you were to write a to-do list, what should be on your to-do list? And that really is related to the big rocks in your life. Now the big rocks video, I'll put a link to that below and you can check that out. Until next time, stay wise.